Record. So this is the first video that I record for I call this little group, and I have already a Spanish group. It's called Nevuah. It's like the house of prophecy. Why? Because I think that the prophecy, like to rescue that level of consciousness, to rescue that level of connection with Kedusha, we need to start with the self consciousness first of all. So as a step to get into the prophecy, to get into the Nebuah, we need to start with that. That's why I call Bet Nebuah, like the house of Nebuah, the vessel for bring back the Nebuah. So basically what I want to share is some principles, some laws that when you understand that nature, you start to see the things at another way. Okay, so this knowledge is basically Kabbalah, but the way that I'm going to explain it, and you will see that everything is in that Chaim, it's more open and more easy to understand. And with this, it's like learn ABC, and there you learn algebra, and then you learn mathematics, and then you learn equations. So you go step by step. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the law of three. Okay, law of three. Okay, give me a second. Okay. So about the law of three, what we have here is a triangle, okay? So basically, anything that happened in our material world, also in the spiritual world, has two components, two parts, two energies. We know it, right? But it's important that we remember the basis so we can go further with more knowledge, right? So we have here the light, the positive energy, the expansive energy, the mashpia, and you have the mekabel. You have the bezel, you have the passive energy, you have the reception energy, um, and the energy that goes into, right? And you have a neutral energy. Basically, the difference between the neutral energy and the positive energy is that the neutral actually allows both energies to interact. So it shouldn't be seen as an energy that doesn't it's that doesn't involve into this triangle, or it's hidden, but as a way that you can connect two natures that actually doesn't have nothing in common, but they have a relationship between them, right? So that neutral energy, I call it the uh, cause bubble, the cause bubble. Okay. So why? Let's put an example. Right now I'm talking to you, but there are many things that allows us to talk. For example, the computer. For example, the light here, and I have my camera. You have your camera. You don't have any problem with your ears. You can listen to me. I don't have any problem in talking. Um, and I speak English. You understand English, right? So there are many things that are aligned in a chain in order to connect my message to your understanding, right? So with that, we can understand that there's a bubble of causes that are happening right now. And if one of those causes, one of those origins stop, then suddenly we can't continue the triangle force. the three force, right? So basically, what we need to take a look is what is in our control, what is in our hand, first of all. Everything that happens in our life has to do with these three forces. And when you start watching how these triangles are being constructed in your life, you develop the fire vision. Why the fire? Because the fire is the first element and is represented with the triangle. So the fire vision means that you understand how the fire, how the transformation, how the prime element is being created, the prime energy is created. So you create first a vessel, and with that vessel, you can attract the light. It's not that the light just will close the triangle. You need a vessel for it. So if you don't create the vessel, it's very difficult that you can accomplish anything in life. Let's make an example. If you want to be the president of the United States, you need a politician career. You need to start in a group, and you need to like go to the meetings, like select if you will be Republican or going with Democrats, right? And you need to find uh, what you want to change maybe in your neighborhood, and like have many steps before you become the president of America, right? So it's not easy to decide that you want to be something, that you need to do a lot of vessels before. And although you have that vessel, maybe you will not, right? Maybe you will fail. Maybe that vessel will remain empty all your life, but you need to take a decision for that. For sure, if you don't have that vessel, if you don't have a politician career, if you don't have maybe a career and knowledge in politics, if you don't know anything about economics, for sure, you will not the president, never, right? So humans we have like a little power in there that Hashem gives us. And that is the power to create those vessels with the elements that we have around us. And when we create those vessels, then we can attract the light, because the light is looking always for that vessel. That light is from the beginning to now, it's looking for the vessel. And that's the pasuk on Bereshit. Bereshit, when it says that the spirit of Elohim were upon the waters, right? That spirit is actually that active force that we have here. It's the light that wants to get into a vessel. Is the masculine, is the mashpia energy that is looking to like pregnant a new way of life, right? The feminine force, the mekabel, the kli. Okay. So basically, this is law of three. Okay. And I will stop a little bit here to hear you. Maybe you have some comments and something you want to add to it.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's interesting. The pattern shows up everywhere, as you know. Legend of Zelda. Um, one of the greatest games ever. But more interestingly, in Hindu mysticism, in Christian mysticism, in a lot of different sources. But it's also an idea in building software. I think, in Hindu mysticism, it's interesting because a lot of people think of the Hindus as kind of polytheist and idol worshiping, and to some extent that might be true. But at the core, if you ask a Brahmin or you ask somebody, they they really actually at the core believe in one God that is split into three entities. There's Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, right? So Brahma would be that positive, expansive force. Shiva would be the negative, but contracting force, I think. I could have it wrong. The neutral force would be Vishnu. Um, and they have functions. Brahma is the generator function, the creator function, as you said, the creative force or the creative energy. Um, and then you have Vishnu, which is a protector function who protects the creation, or a filter function. And then you have Shiva, who they say is the destroyer function. He's really the ender or contractor function. And it's similar when you have software code. You have some of the code generates, you have some lines of the code that call the functions that start the program, the generator function. You have some lines of the code that protect the function to make sure it doesn't throw bugs or doing some type of filter an algorithm or something. And then you have the end of the code that stops the function. And if any of these things are not in place, the computer will freeze or the code will fail or the program will fail. And I think they're all elements of Hashem, as you've pointed out. And yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts so far. You could keep going.
Yeah, so another example that I like to speak is when you have, for example, an accident and hasbe shalom. So a person like goes into life, and sometimes they blame others, right, for what happened. But actually, when you understand law of three, you will never blame anyone. Why? Because you are part of that triangle. It doesn't matter that, for example, you were crossing the street, right? So it's the fault of the guy of the car, the guy who was driving. So you can think it's his fault. I was just crossing. I'm, a pedestrian, so I'm just crossing the street. Uh, he should respect me, right? And that's true. We have laws, I understand. But in a mystical sense, nobody gives you the obligation of crossing the street at that specific moment. You did. You decided to cross the street. And you have all the faculties, and you have your body, and you order your body, please walk through that street and that specific moment. So you were part of this, right? You create the bezel, because if you are not there in that moment, that then the triangle will never exist, right? So at least we
Right.
have a little power there. Um, we can disable triangles and we can activate triangles. And the only thing that we control is the creation of bezels. That's the first principle. The second thing is that you have up here in the neutral force, you have this bubble of causes, and you can hasbe shalom, like block those channels. For example, a person that is not paying their internet, for example, that person is not paying internet for some reason, maybe in a meeting, maybe it could be cut off, it can like stop suddenly, And he will say, "Oh, it's the fault of those guys from the internet." And no, it's not. You block this channel of neutral force, and you are not able to continue communicating with others. So basically, that's another way to see the bezel. It's part of it, but when you have like your channels dirty, then you can't receive fully all the blessings, everything that should be there for you. And also, you can, has shalom, receive negative energies, right? So basically, to take responsibility, it's a big step for mankind. So if this little class can be understood for from everyone in the world, and we start like having our own responsibility for the bad things that happen to us and stop blaming others, that will be a huge step for mankind, huge step for humanity,
Amen.
right?
Beautiful. Ownership, taking ownership of your situation.
Yeah. So basically, this is law of three. This is the way that the Sefirot works also. We will have a specific class for this, but you have Chokhmah here, you have Binah here, right? Let's put it a bit here. Uh, and then you have the At, and it's the first triangle. Actually, it's Habat, right? That is the intellectual triangle. And then you have Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. And then you have Netzach, Hod, Beyesot. That's the third triangle. Then you have Malchus, right? And you have Keter here, Keter. So basically, you have the same principles. You have two columns here, one in the left side, one in the right side, and one in the middle. So basically, the Etz Chaim is a representation of the law of three, but as the Rizal says, 3 times 3. 3 times 3 refer to Chokhmah Binah Da'at, Chesed Geburat Tiferet, Netzachot Yesod, like as an independent triads. It will be the word, maybe triangles.
Yeah, yeah.
Triads, it's okay?
Yeah,
No.
I think it's kind of a triad of triangles in a
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
triad. Yeah.
Or a triad of triads. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have these triads here, and those represents the functions of also the spiritual being, and also the physical body, right? So we have here, this is the first aspect, this is the first principle, and this law should be like understood in order to create anything. So right now, you are preparing to go to Israel, and you are creating vessels for that, right? In order that you can attract what you want, what you need, and also to attract those sparks that you need to rescue and to incorporate to yourself, right? So I think that basically, that's the way it works, and the way that you can apply this is by always focusing in the bezel. If you want to achieve something, okay, create the bezel. You want to bring money, okay, create the bezel. You want to have a good wife, okay, create the bezel. You want to have a big group, you want to anything. You want to become a Talmid Chacham, you need to study, you need to create the bezel, right? So we are now creating the bezel for receiving uh, a good level of knowledge, a high level of knowledge, high knowledge. So that's why we are like working with this. So this is basically the law of three, and we will see this in the next chapters, right? Uh,
Beautiful.
so this is the first step. Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We got the so you did a good explanation. Uh there's things I learned I didn't know. I'm interested on the neutral energy though. So if we're thinking about say like a magnetic field, or you have the vessel, and that which fills the vessel. So would the neutral energy be like the void or like the manifolds or the space-time? Or am I thinking about it incorrectly? Like in the so there's the giver, the receiver,
Yes.
and the neutral energy is kind of the fabric they're in, or how does that work?
Basically the field where everything happens. That's why I call it the cause bubble. You know, the cause, I don't know, it's
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
yeah, like
Causal bubble or causal chain. Yeah, yeah.
causal. Yes, causal. So that will like create a field of possibilities. And when you have all the statistical possibilities for something, you know, like the atom, right? So you have all those statistics. You have a consciousness there, or an intention. It's maybe the better word is an intention that is creating that something happen and not other thing happen. You know, so there's an intention. Because if you think about it, and I will repeat it, you know, how many things are happening right now for us that we can interact each other. And one of those little things can just stop, you know, and with that, all the chain is broken, and our causal bubble can explode, and then it should be interrupted. That's why when I said Besrat Hashem, I'm being serious, you know, like I'll see you in 5 minutes, Besrat Hashem, you know. Okay, I will wait for you one second. Okay, Besrat Hashem. You know why I said Besrat Hashem is not only for tradition, but actually because I know that any causal bubble can change the things from one moment to another, from cosmic dimensions, from maybe the sun that can decide to hasba shalom, like disappear in one second, and from, you know, basic things like the internet, like the food, like the air, like a lot of things that can, has shalom, go wrong, and are allowing us to exist and to interact and to bring geula, you know. So many things are happening for us to be like just talking here. I mean, this is a miracle that we have a language, that we have internet, that we are, you know, like we have Zoom, and so it's a lot of things. So that is a field of possibilities. That's a statistical field. That force is incommensurable. You know, it's impossible to understand it. But that neutral law has an intention, and that intention is that we are here and now. So this whatever it is can be happening. You like it?
Beautiful.
Nice. Okay, so let's go to the law of octaves. Okay. Okay, so now we talk about the law of three. Just one moment. So now we have the law of octaves. So what is this about? You of course know music, so this will be easy for you. So in the piano, right, you have the letters have as notes, right? You have Z, you have D, E, you have F, G, A, and finally B. Okay. Okay, then you have intervals, semitones here. Here one semitone, two semitones, then you have nothing here, right? This is the first interval, okay? Then you have semitone here, semitone here, semitone here. And from here to the next C, you have nothing here. So this is our second interval.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
when we understand this, we are understanding that we have two types of intervals, right? So this is a very deep knowledge. So first of all, we need to like take a look and to understand it practically. Then we will understand the theories, okay? The theory. So first, you have two kinds of interval, two types of interval. First type is um, that all the qualities, I don't know if it's the correct word, like you can change in chemistry from one state to another, but completely the material and the structure of that material changes, right? So it's called in Spanish cualidades, the qualities, um,
Maybe attributes.
the attributes. I like that attributes.
Qualities is kind of the same. It's there's a little different, but it's more or less the same word. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have a change in the attributes themselves, or you can like have an interval of quantity. That means that you don't have an essential change, but you have a grow or uh, minus diminution. Could be dismiss, how you can call it. Like you go up on quantity, you're growing, or you are, how you call it?
You mean multiplication, multiplying, or maybe exponential?
Yeah.
Uh,
The other way is
uh, you mean like going down,
yes.
division, or subtraction, or
Yeah.
um,
The diminishing, it's
the diminishing? Yeah,
diminishing.
diminishing could be, yeah,
Okay, so you can go and have multiplication, and then you have diminishing,
or
right?
division.
Division,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think you could use either one. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you have both intervals. So everything in nature has a specific time of growing when the attributes changes and never go back to the last state. They just changed. Let's put an example. A boy of 12 years after the bar mitzvah, and you never recover that boy, then that boy have beard, long hair, start playing guitar, right? So that boy never comes back. It can be like inner, like more spirit, like maybe by heart, but it changes, right? So also in a business, you have those intervals: the past, the present, and the future. And when you have these intervals, you need to be aware of what is this about. And basically, these intervals is representing for us a portal between past and future. That means that when you have an interval here, this portal opens all the energy that was connected with this moment at the past and this moment at the future at the same time, right? So with that energy, strange things start happening around you, and you receive all the energy necessary to change yourself and to change everything that is surrounding you. Basically, that's how the energy works. That's the way institutions, enterprises, political power arises and falls also, the way that can also be fall. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the saying comes to mind, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, right? There's a pattern and a cycle. Also, I'm noticing the spiral you drew looks like how Earth moves through space because the sun is moving through space. So you have the quantitative change of June 2021 to June 2022. They're qualitatively both June, but quantitatively they're on a different year. You're in the same part of the orbit, but you're in a different part in space, right? And the interval is 1 year. That comes to mind.
Totally, totally. So if you have an upper view of this, you will see a circle here, and you start in this point, and you end in this point, and you go again and again and again. But you have 2 points where everything is connected, and you can have a quantity interval means that the essence of the thing never change, but the quantity of it does. For example, let's talk about the business. So a person open an ice cream business. So if he is growing with his business with ice creams, maybe he's producing 100 ice creams at first, and now he's producing 1,000 ice creams at month, right? And then go further and further and further and further, and growing, but are the same ice creams, the same flavors, the same prices, the same everything, the same brand, everything. It's just equal. But if you go, or if you are having a quality interval, an attribute interval, then that will change the nature of your ice creams. Then you start selling other things similar to ice creams, maybe, or you start selling like new flavors, and you change your brand, you change the colors of your shops. And like having that interval changes everything from the root, changes the nature of it. Okay. So the next lesson that we need to understand is that when we are in this interval, actually is the only way that we advance in our spiritual pathway. There's no way that you can advance from here to here. That is only our trainment. That is, I like this example. You are Rocky Balboa, right? You are Rocky and you're preparing to go in the ring and to fight the Russian guy, okay? So the only thing that you can do before you go into that ring at the exact day and the exact moment is you can only train. You can run, you can like train, maybe you can have some sparring, and you can also go to that ring and figure it out that how that can work. But you are doing nothing. You are doing nothing until the interval is there. And when the interval is there, you should work and you should do what you need to do. And when you do that, you are changing worlds. You're changing the energy of the past and the future at the same time. You are connecting with everything. So one of the problems we have as mankind also, we talk about responsibility, is that sometimes we got depressed, or we give up sometimes because things are not working on, because things, I feel like I'm not getting advanced, I'm not like going step forward. That is because you are not in an interval. You want to win a fight and you're waiting the Russian guy, but a week before the fight, you know? So it's not the time. It's not the time. It's not your time right now. But you need to be aware, and you should know that at that interval will come, and you need to get prepared for that, basically.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
True.
So, and you need to look at what type of interval you have in front of you. If you have a quantity interval, then you have the same in essence, but it will grow, and it has shalom will be diminished. But sometimes that the diminishing that division will bring you new opportunities, and that is for good.
Yeah. Would you say that so like in music, so is the quantitative interval is like the octave between the A, and the qualitative interval is like the between the notes?
Yes, the
Got
E
it.
and F is quantity, and the B to C is a change of octave, so it's quality, right? That's the way, symbolic way, how it works, right? So you have all these intervals also in energy. So when you can feel it, you prepared for it, and you go on and you do your best at that moment. And I mean that maybe that interval can, like have 2 days, 3 days, sometimes can be a week. But when you are there and you do your best, then when you go back into your normal, um, how can I say, rhythm, you have another attributes. You grew up, you did something, and you got maybe advanced like 5 years outside the interval. So that's very important. And that's the secret how a lot of people can grow and develop big things, and people that can't. So it's impossible to develop big things without an interval. And when you have that, a huge interval, maybe a collective interval, you can do really, really big things. Let's talk about the COVID, right? Let's talk about Hasbe Shalom, the war, World War II, this war right now with Hamas, right? We are in an interval as Israel, as Bnei Israel. So we need to do our best in this moment. And if we do, we will advance maybe 20, 30, 15 years, 50 years, just in 1 year. How? By doing what it needs to be done. We are right now in the ring with the Russian guy. Well, this is not a Russian guy, but it's just the same energy. So we need to um, take care of our energy to just use it on this interval, to just prepare for it. And when you are there, you can also relax. And that's why, and I will bring a little debate Torah, that's why we put mezuzahs. That's why we put mezuzot in the doors,
Yeah.
because a door is a portal that separates two spaces. And when you are through that portal, you need to remember that the Shem is with you. You need to remember, especially that name that is Shin Dalet Yud, that special name we can like refer to as Shakai, right? That special name, it's the Yesod and the Malchut. It's the name that connects Yesod and Malchut, and it refers to those intervals.
Wow. I never realized that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you will crossing a door, you will remember that like you are coming from a space to a new space. You're coming from outside to inside, but it's the same spiritually. You are coming to an interval, and then you are there, and then everything changes, and then you can like change everything, and everything will change around you because you have a new energy. And this interval is also very influential. If you have your vessels, then your vessels will fill up. And that is the miracle, you know, of the oil that never stops. But it will fill up as the number of vessels you have, right? So this is the law of octaves. So I have a question at this point. How you can know that you are or not in an interval?
Hmm, that's a good question. Well, I guess, I mean, technically, any position should have a relative interval to another position. But the question is it the correct interval, right? Is it the correct interval for what I want? You know? Yes, I might want to find a beautiful Jewish wife right now at this moment, and I can push as hard as I can to make that happen and call all of the matchmakers and demand. But if it's not the correct interval, it's not the correct time, right? So instead, maybe we should worry about preparing the vessels, right? Like you said. And I love that idea. I've never thought about it that way. It's like, okay, I've got my water bottle and I'm thirsty and I want to drink water now. And I keep trying to drink out of the empty water bottle. It's never gonna work. The only time and I can't fill it up, there's no water around, right? But so what I need to do is make sure that that water bottle's open and ready when I do and have the opportunity to fill it up with some water, and then I'll be able to drink. I think that's what's coming to mind.
For
Uh,
sure. I
Beautiful.
love.
I haven't heard this before, in the way that you're putting it. And you're describing also like a really good concept in science and in the process of the scientific method, which is that you can do a qualitative measurement or you can do quantitative measurement. And these things are both important, but they're two components of measurement and they're distinct. And it kind of maps to this also. It's really cool.
Well, Hashem. So
Baruch Hashem.
I will answer you. There's a way that you can know that you are about to enter into an interval. So if you saw the movie Matrix, right? You see that when the Matrix has an error, that some things repeat. Okay, so there's something similar when we
Deja
are,
vu.
yeah,
It's like a French term called deja vu,
yeah.
right? Where you're like, you see something like, I think I've seen this before, but
Well, that's like from the movie, and it could be, but I will let you know a more objective way to know that you are like about to start in an interval. And basically, it's that everyone has like a routine, right? Everyone has like a way that things happen around, and that those things are have a rhythm, right? So you as a musician know that when you are playing a song, you have a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then suddenly the time changes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It changes, right? So when you know music, you know how to understand these intervals. So basically, when something breaks your routine, you're in an interval. And I mean, it could be seen something stupid, like maybe you break your pants, hasbe shalom, right? Or you maybe have a problem with the car. Oh, hasbe shalom again. So some things that never happened to you, never happened, and at that moment started to happen. This is so strange. This never happened to me, right? So when many things start happening and book, 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 like popcorn, you are entering into a portal.
Ah, that's awesome. I don't thought about that. It's also like a build up in electronic music, right? Like you have the house music going and like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
It's the end of a certain part and it's like boom, 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 pop. The new interval starts, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So as I'm telling you, if you know music, this should be easy for you. That's the secret of the music. That's why in some esoteric schools, the music is so important for like the knowledge of those people, right? So yeah, yeah. Basically, when something is changing and then that energy is generating that around you, the aleatory, the how can I say it? Like things that normally doesn't happen, right? It start to happen. Why? Because you are with an aleatory energy. Yeah, is the correct word. Let me check in Google. I need
Um,
the correct word.
The ambiance, the the atmosphere.
Random, random.
Random.
Yeah, the randomity, the randomity.
Oh yeah, the randomness. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Or the stochasticity is another one that's the
I like that. I like also. There's another way in thermodynamics,
chaos, entropy.
entropy, right?
That's and the entropy.
So
Thing. The
when you
entropy
are
itself
about
goes.
to enter into an interval, that entropy is changing your causal bubble, right? So that
Yeah.
causal bubble changes, and then strange things start to happen around you,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Basically, yeah. Go on.
No, I was just thinking and I've had experiences where if you try to reinforce the routine and fight against it, right? To reinforce the routine and you fight against it, that's when the big pain comes, right? Uh, like, yeah, I know I have to make this change. I knew I was going to have to do this, but I just don't want to deal with it right now. So I'll just keep doing what I was doing and keep doing, and you can try to fight and fight and fight, and eventually you're not going to be able to fight it. It will just break you instead of you breaking the causal chain. And the entropy will get so high that you have to be careful because if you fight it enough, it'll tear you up, right?
So
Uh,
basically, there's a way that you can start creating little portals. How we call it in Hasidus iskafia, right?
yeah.
You heard about it?
What is that? It's a Hebrew word. What does the Hebrew word mean?
Iskafia is Aramaic. Basically means like um let me look for the word, to bend, to bend. That's iskafia, to bend your soul, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is that when you are in your routine and you by yourself start changing your nature, you are creating little portals. So you are like invoking, like you are summoning an interval. That's why the sages, the Hachamim, did little pains for them, you know, little, like um, every day bath with cold water, or don't eat a lot, or try to, like do some things that they don't really want to do, but they prefer to do to maintain, the body in control. Why? Because with those changes, they generate this little energy of chaos, of entropy, and they start like having more portals. So if you have a portal every day, you can like go through, go through, go through, go through, and you start generating big changes in the world. Start generating first of all big changes in yourself, but after that, you have changes for your community, for your family, for like everyone that is around, because you are summoning that chaotic energy, and with this chaotic energy, you start making changes, and it will not take effort for you because you are using a natural way, right? So it's like you have all the power of a river and you transform it into electricity, and then you can do something with that. That's mainly the way that you are taking an interval, you are taking the natural energy of change, and you are like making a channel for that, and using for your mission, for your tikkun olam. Hear you.
That's awesome.
Right. So finally, another important thing in a law of octaves is that you must know that it's totally normal that you can't, and I repeat, you can't go from the point A to the point B. It's totally normal. We normally say, okay, this guy is not progressing because he don't want. Maybe he's lazy. He's not putting on the necessary effort for this. It's not that. It's that there's a natural energy. It's not because a world order, or because we have the television and the control and the internet, and they are like blowing up our minds. It's not like that, because we have the same energy from Mitzrayim until now, and the channels that has been transmitted are different, yes, but in essence is the same energy. I'm not talking about human control. I'm talking about nature control. And that this is nature control. I mean that this law is around all the universe. So when you start in the point A and you said, "Oh, I'm going to start this, I don't know, this friendship, this I'm going to start this career, I'm going to start this job," you do with all your energy and you are so happy and you are like focusing and you are doing the good things and the things well. And but you need to know that if you don't know about this law, you at one moment will be at the contrary position. You will say, "Oh, I had this job, I can't afford it, I think that I will look for another path." And it's totally normal. It's totally normal that a person that becomes so religious then can have like a moments that they feel like, should I continue like going further, or should
Oh
I
yeah.
like go to the other way?
Yeah, there's an English phrase that goes 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? It's yeah, it's true. Everything's a wave, so ups and downs, man.
That's
Yeah.
it. So what would you need to know is that when you know this law and someone says to you, "No, no, no, a yes is coming," or when someone says to you, "Yes, yes," and no is coming, it's totally normal, because we are managing changes. We are managing this energy. So as you start in one direction, you will end to the other. So if you really want to get from the point A to the point B, you need to take a look to the intervals and just work and prepare for that. And when you're in the interval, you just go through the point B. until you get there. And then you rest and you prepare for the next. You rest and you prepare for the next. It's just like a subway, right? You can like go down in the middle of the stations. You just need to rest and to wait, right? When the doors are open, then you have the opportunity to go out or go in, but there's no other way. So that's our problem, that we think that the world is in our hands. And that's why we have Shabbos. That's the main thing also in Shabbos. Because
Amen.
we
That's beautiful.
understand, yeah, because we understand that the world is not in our hands, it's in Hashem's hands. So when we respect that and we like stop for doing things, you are like making an interval for you. You are doing that diskafia. You are generating this portal. So when you came out Shabbat, all these magic things started happening in all the week. That's why Chachamim says that all the blessings and all the parnase and all the things that the Shems wants to give you, it comes from Shabbos. And if you start like having some issues in Shabbos and some melachot, and with that, you are not respecting that portal. And the portal is like not totally open.
Portal collapses. Yeah.
Yeah. So for a little thing, that's why you need to preserve, right? You need to preserve that interval. You need to have that interval. And we are so, there's no culture in, I have seen a lot of cultures, and there are similar things to Judaism because they have like baby steps, right? Baby steps A, baby steps 2, baby steps 3, and Hinduism has that, and Native American mysticism has that, and Freemasonry has that, and European has that, and shamans has that, but there are something that no one never has that. And that is Shabbat. There's no culture in the earth that has that privilege to have a portal each 7 days. So that's crazy. That's crazy. That's the origin of everything. That's a big blessing that goes into the world to this 0.1% of mankind that we are the Jews. And we receive all that and we spread to all the world. So that's amazing. That's a huge privilege.
Baruch Hashem. It is.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally, totally. So when we know that, you shouldn't get angry because someone is not achieving their goals or someone you see like, oh, maybe you need more effort. No, you just need to understand that he is not in an interval right now. And that person needs to be prepared for the interval. That's it. When you are in front of an interval and you can like go on, and everyone has their own intervals. You can't do anything for anyone. Just you can like observe and try to give a hand, but you can't fight for your brother in energetics. You just can like be aware and be kind and be there, just that. But
Yep.
each of us we have our own war, right? So with this, I want to finish this first class of Bet Nevuah. First, law of three, the three forces to create the bezels. And with those bezels, we change the world. We change and we bring the light into this world. That is Kalim of Tikkun and or Orot of the word of chaos of Tohu world, right? And then we have the octaves that we talk about, two types of intervals, attributes intervals and quantity multiplication intervals. And only in these moments we are allowed to grow. We are allowed to really change the things because all the past and the future are aligned with us, and the energy like it makes a channel, makes a portal, so we can change things from the essence without any barrier, right? That stop us. So basically that's it, and we will like have a remembrance in the next class about these two topics. um so yeah, that's basically it.
Baruch Hashem. Nice.
I want to thank you, Colin, for this space. I want to thank everyone that is like watching us right now. So I want you to help me to spread this knowledge with the correct persons. I want to grow the group. So if you have a person that wants to like connect, and maybe that person can take a look to this class, so we can like have these spaces. It's not a lot of knowledge in all my 20 years research. I think that the essential knowledge is this size. It's just a little knowledge, but that little knowledge can help you to change the way that you see the world, and you can like bring new tools for all your life. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Colin, and I'm going to stop our recording.
All right.
And you want to say some word, please?
Oh no, it's beautiful. And this is the beginning of a beautiful sacred path. And Bezrat Hashem, we will together be able to uncover knowledge that was lost many thousands of years ago to help heal the world and bring Mashiach, Bezrat Hashem. And yeah, we're gonna pierce through the klipa of the deception and the untruth, the anti-truth, and we will seek the truth. So, Bezrat Hashem. Thank you, brother. Looking forward to next time.